Welcome back to Hope at Dawn, and this is Hope TV, where you look and you live.
Yes.
Time for the newspaper review. My name is George Gishoro.
And my name is Beatrice Nudi, and we are going to begin with the Daily Nation. The very first top story, I can see President William Ruto doing a bit of construction work here and saying President William Ruto has held on to his ambition to construct 200,000 houses annually under his affordable housing program, but public agencies charged with managing the state's housing schemes are piling stocks of unsold units. And this is a story on pages 4, 5, and 6. So right about now, we have National Housing Corporation unsold houses. They have about 700 units that have not been sold yet. Kenya Development Corporation unsold houses up to 35, and it goes on and on and on. And we have so many unsold houses, uncollected rent, unoccupied houses, stalled projects, and this amount is getting down to literally 6 million worth. That is the value. Actually it's 6 billion worth of the unsold houses, uncollected rent, unoccupied houses, stalled projects. But now we are seeing that he has held on to his ambition of making 200,000 houses every year. But now so far we have that happening, and this is a story that is well reported on the Daily Nation pages 4, 5, and also 6. So you can have a look at that. And I see still on the top page the 2027 calculation in Rising Stars of Kalonzo Natembeya in Mount Kenya, and former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka and Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya could benefit from the uncertainty surrounding Mount Kenya politics amid a growing feeling DP Rigathi Gachagua is being sidelined in President Ruto's government. A story on page 7. Still on the top page, I see here Day Uhuru visit to Inspector General's home upset Ruto. Sometime in April 2015, former Inspector General of Police David Kimayo received a call from Deputy President William Ruto, who was in a full mood. And this is following his visits to Uhuru's home. And I see page 2, we have the music festivals happening. Teachers plight graft dominate the music festival in Eldoret, and the event brings together performers from all levels of the education system, from lower primary to university. I don't know if Gigi, you participated in these festivals.
No.
You did not?
No.
Ulikuwa tunacheza futa wewe.
Kwa tu msewa ball. Hizi zingine tu ni.
How did you end up as a journalist?
By the good question. But because I wanted to be a footballer.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that end up to be a journalist?
Because my dreams were shattered. So I wanted something close to what I wanted to do.
Footballing and journalism is close.
But I'm covering sports.
Oh, okay.
So I'm still on the pitch.
Still on the pitch.
Yeah.
As a reporter.
Yes. So I could smell the grass. I could watch the ball being played.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm still doing.
You're
but now
still doing.
On the other side, I want
the
to
assignment
be.
has shifted.
Exactly. So I wanted to be the newsmaker.
Yeah.
But now I'm the news reporter.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still within the same line.
Yes. In fact, right now, even news reporting, you're not doing it. Now you are hosting shows.
Imagine. You see?
Oh my goodness. For me, music festival was my thing. I mean, public speaking, solo verses from class 3.
Wow.
I did it from class 3 in primary all the way to high school.
Yeah. So, now it's my daughter.
Yeah.
My daughter is the one now who's taken over.
Please bring her. I can teach her a thing or two.
My daughter is the one now who is in. My son, no.
No.
Yeah, my son in football.
Oh, of course, taking up
but
the
girl, hey.
Like father, like son.
Yes, definitely.
The girl, you bring your girl. Let me mentor her.
Really?
Yes.
Is she safe?
She is. Really?
Yeah.
You know, in Form 4.
Clarity.
No, Form 4, I was number 1 nationally.
Wow.
For public speaking.
Wow.
Swahili.
Swahili kwanza.
Swahili.
Wow.
Senior public speaking nationally. So bring her. When I tell you bring her. I can teach her a thing or two.
A thing or two.
Yes.
Okay, we'll have that conversation
We
off
will.
air.
Off air, yes. And page 3, of course, it's just the story of Kimayo's message to new IG as he prepares to assume office is to be very wary of politicians. And this is a story on page 3. I see Mr. David Kimayo saying Ruto wanted to know who had brought the president to Rift Valley without him. I informed him that the president had come on his own to attend a church function. I just love how fearless people are. Like, hakuna mtu anaogopa, by the way.
Fear is gone.
You say it as it is.
That's it.
Hakuna kuficha kitu.
Hakuna.
Yes.
Tunaambiana ukweli.
It's true.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's a lot of worry when it comes to, you know, this housing project.
Yeah.
Because Kenyans are being taxed. You know, there's that levy that is going towards these houses being constructed and all that. But there's worry over Ruto housing projects as others remain unsold or unoccupied. So why is this even happening?
Yeah.
Because this is a big number. 30,000 number of Kenyans saving on Boma Yangu, a voluntary government scheme to buy houses. So is it that they're not affordable, or why are people not really responding to it?
Yeah.
Because if at all, you know, if you start something and you see it's not really returning the way you hoped,
you need to go back to the drawing board.
Go back to the drawing board.
And see what really could be the problem.
What really could be the issue? Is it maybe the rates are too high, or this was just not even necessary to start with? Or could it be a whole different project that was needed? Because these numbers are huge of houses that have been unsold, money that, you know, the value of houses, I mean, if at all, number of houses 8,542, and these are the houses completed, and State Department for Housing, and the value of houses totaling up to 24 billion. So this is actually a very, very big number. But unfortunately, we are having so many unoccupied, and Ruto says that he will continue to construct 200,000 every year. So where are these houses going to go to if they are not really appealing to the hustler, to that mwananchi? Maybe they can't even afford it. And I see our Auditor General Nancy Gathongo saying despite some of the projects having been completed several years ago, the houses have remained unsold, and hence they continue to be reported as inventories. So I think there's need to go back to the drawing board and see why this is happening. And, you know, we will continue to follow up on the same, even to understand why, you know, why this is even happening. But that's a story on page 5 and also 4. And moving on, what Kenya can learn from West on affordable housing. Still on the same, I see wealthy countries engaged in a flurry of public housing development from the 60s. Programs to provide affordable housing have been hit by speculation and limited financing. And $62,150 is the New York families with a combined income less than this are eligible for rental subsidies. So this is a story that is on page 6. And I see here, unlike in Kenya, where affordable housing policies may target the country's poorest, many developed nations face a pronounced housing crisis that affects even the middle class and has become a defining issue in national elections. I mean, this is something that is bringing trouble, not just even in our country, but even beyond. And this is a story that is well highlighted on page 6. And still on the same, is saying that wealthy countries engaged in a flurry of public housing development through the 1960s and 1970s, funded directly by the government and targeted at families that would rent those units. And this is on page 6. And page 7, the 2027 calculation in Rising Stars of Kalonzo, Natembeya in Mount Kenya. Gachagua on the same has said Natembeya and Kalonzo have never wronged us, alluding to Mount Kenya region, adding they are our friends and we are talking. Okay. And I see here page 8, former spy DP claims survived murder attempt. Interesting. I see Gikonyo works at Mr. Gashagua's office after being kicked out of NI. Yes, and that's a story on page 8 of the Daily Nation. And looking at the Healthy Nation, the DN2, I see it's a really, really, really big story here. The agony of children who cannot pass stool in the normal way. So we are having a very, very deep story here that is important for mothers, even new mothers, to see that and read, because I think this is something that is affecting many people, but there's not really much awareness about the same. And 2 million is the amount that Grace Grace Nyagodhi has spent on her son's treatment. Very, very, very high. And this is a story on page 4 of the DN2. That is the Healthy Nation from the Daily Nation. And let me go to the back page. State in delicate balancing act as it shrinks its spending. Even as the government cuts spending, it has ring-fenced agriculture, education, and also health. And at a glance, you see the amount of money in Kenyan shillings by which the government has reduced its planned budget for the 2024-2025 financial year is up to 145 billion. And this is the state making a huge cut in its budget. And I see in the current financial year ending June 2025, the government had planned to spend 3.9 trillion against a revenue projection of 2.92 trillion, with a deficit of 597 billion plugged by local and foreign borrowing. A story on the back page. And I see private sector's activity in sharpest fall in 3 years on Gen Z protest. That is a story on the back page. And going to the sports, Jamaica-US rivalry plays out. Alfred puts St. Lucia on the map. Lyles beat Thompson by 5,000ths of a second in a photo finish after timing his dip to cross the line to perfection in men's 100-meter final. And still on the Paris Olympics, tall order for Kenya in men's 1,500-meter women's steeplechase finals tonight. That will be happening tonight. And lastly, favorites cruise to semis as battle heats up in Kisii. That's on the secondary schools Term 2 national games, where the event is going to end on Thursday.
Right. Let's go to the Standard, and they go with the headline, Gachagua, I know they are after me. Who is after Gachagua? Pressure from within. Deputy President tells his backyard there are efforts to intimidate him. There is an impeachment motion against him in the works, and his friends are being bullied by government. But he says he is here to stay. It's a story you can read on page 4. I am not scared. If my mistakes are to defend my people, I'm guilty. I don't have the money to bribe the MPs to protect my job. It is Kenyans, especially the Mount Kenya people, who supported me and Ruto overwhelmingly. It's not MPs who elected me. The president did not tell me that Raila was coming with his people to government to get rid of me. He said they were coming to help, and I believed him. And of course, he was having an interview with, what is it called? Vernacular stations, TV and radio, over the weekend. And he was addressing a myriad of questions and issues pertaining to the governance and the politics of the nation. You can read that on page number 4. Not so fast. Ruto in fresh finance fiasco over spending plan. The quotes again. Yesterday, before the ink on the assent on the Appropriations Act had dried, activists were in court challenging its legality. The story you can read on page 7. Mwachi rais apumue hata. Anyway, I also see Bangladesh Prime Minister flees after mass protests. There has been protest in Bangladesh by students and young people as well. And Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's 15-year rule ended yesterday as she fled more than a month of deadly protests, and the military announced it would form an interim government. It's a story you can read on page 26. I also see plight of donkeys in schools competition. Most items in the ongoing school music festival gave the donkey a human persona, raising the domestic animal to the level of a guest, a friend, as well as a helper.
Wow.
Yeah, page 16, you can read that.
They have taken it a notch higher.
I know, right? Then iconic Queen's Hotel reopens after 3 years. That's on page 3. President Ruto faces Mount Kenya as he crafts his 2027 re-election plan. Ruto seems to be wooing the coast to replace the mountain. he has given significant government slots to the coast as his deputy keeps lamenting. It's on page 2. Kuria meets Raila, announces intention to join Azimio coalition. Straightforward democracy cannot work. We need to come up with a structured democracy such as the Bomas draft. That is according to the former cabinet secretary. And the axed public service cabinet secretary says Baba has once again saved country from destruction. He wants to join AU chairmanship campaign team. All right, you can read that on page 5.
All right.
Then case challenging new spending law is filed. Ruto's government has spending problem. Income is way too much. You can read that on pages 6 and 7. Then as we continue, is Gen Z protest Ruto's Damascus moment? All eyes on the president. The new arrangement may calm things down by appealing to the older generation and ODM supporters in Nyanza region. However, Ruto still has to deal with restless youth who are supported by a majority of Kenyans. And that is why it's not business as usual. It's not politics as usual. Because before it was about regions, it was about the older political figures, you know, kingpins. Of this and this, but it's no longer that. It's about now the young people. It's about now the young people who are actually supported by even now their parents.
It's true.
You know, so it's not because if your tribesman is occupying a position, you're not benefiting. It's them and their family. So all Kenyans are asking for, it's not even positions. It's for systems to work. It's for accountability. It's for transparency, openness. That is what Kenyans are yearning for. Not positions, because all of us cannot occupy these positions. But can all Kenyans, all of us can benefit from the taxes that are being collected. Right? LSK sues police officer over death of Rex Masai during tax protests. Law Society of Kenya claims Isaiah Ndumba Murangiri was behind the killing. Lawyers want court to outlaw deployment of officers in civilian clothing during protests. And we hope that justice will be seen to be done, and actually at the end of it all, that justice will be done. It's a story that also you highlighted. Dance galore as students question treatment of donkeys at Music Fit. Wanatetea punda. So you can read that on page 16. On the pull-out financial standard, finance bill, why you may not be off the hook just yet. Tough call. The government could still explore ways of introducing new or additional levies, taxes, and fees through the review of other laws. Read that on pages 24 and 25. And the business section, IMF roots for private sector-led initiatives in Kenya's recovery, says infrastructure incentives will encourage private sector participation and investment. This is in the wake of austerity measures and budget cuts sparked by the withdrawal of the finance bill of 2024. World news, new poll shows Kamala Harris gaining strength against Trump. CBS News YouGov poll released Sunday shows Harris has a 1% advantage on Trump nationwide. Expectations are that Harris will pick a white man for running mate to balance their tickets. Right? That is the world news. Then as we go to the back page, which is the sports news, Omanyala, keep your chin up. African champion finished a distant 8th in 100 meters semis. Wise storms into 400 meters hurdles semis in Paris Olympics. Huge safari packages await Kenyan Olympic medalist. Right? Question also, will Cheriot Komen dethrone Ingebrigtsen? That's the question, because the battle of titans awaits Kenyan duo of Cheriot and Komen. Kenya has fairly dominated men's 1500 meters since the 1968 Olympics, and the final will be tonight at 9:50 p.m. and then at 10:14 p.m. we will have the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase final, and in the 1500 meters final for men we will have Olympic silver medalist Timothy Cheruiyot and the African champion Brian Komen leading our medal hopes. And of course, last night we won our first medals. Your namesake, Beatrice Chebet won Kenya's first gold.
Wow.
That was in the 5,000 meters.
Yeah.
And then the formidable Faith Kipyegon, she ended up weeping after because she was disqualified.
Oh.
But then later, after an appeal, she was reinstated and she was given a silver medal back. So Kenya won number 1 and 2.
Beautiful.
And then
that
was
is
it?
good.
Yeah. Then Mary Mora, she won bronze in 800 meters. So our ladies doing the country
They are really
proud.
doing well.
Yeah. So yesterday we won 3. So we won a gold, we won a silver, and
And
we
a
won
bronze.
bronze. So hopefully,
Congratulations
yes,
to them.
tonight we will add to that tally in the men's 1500 meters and the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase. We pray for them and we wish them the very best.
Yes.
Kenyans brave stormy waves to rule World Triathlon Meet. Nyakach stand defending champions Butere to reach semis. Not so fast highway. Dr. Agre draw delays run to the semis. Former national champions Cheptil Kantwanze advance to last 4. Read that on page 36 and 37. Then quickly to the Business Daily. Car importers win as KRA switches to new tax system. New system relies on value of vehicles at shipment point. Taxman had been accused of using higher price lists, and Treasury defers 55 billion shillings payments on bust up budgets. And jobs grow at slowest pace in 7 months. New jobs created by private sector firms in Kenya in July grew by the smallest margin since January 2024, spooked by the lowest cash circulation in more than 3 years. You can read that on page 4 and other stories on the Business Daily.
All right.
That's what's happening.
Okay, now we've come to the end of our newspaper review. And of course, we continue to pray for this nation and also to be informed at what is happening. I believe that change is coming. And by the end of this year, we are going to see some significant things happening in the favor of the people. So let us keep waiting. And, the Gen Zs are actually planning a protest this very Thursday.
Yeah.
Wanaita nane. Yeah.
Oh, sio saba. Sasa ni nane
Ni
nane.
nane. Yeah.
Alright.
Sijui kama kulikuwa na moja mbili. Sasa tumefika nane. But anyway, that is to be expected, and just that to let people know. Make sure that you are safe wherever it is that you will be. And for those who are planning to come out, let us continue fighting for this nation, because I believe change is coming, and change can be uncomfortable, but change is much needed. So we will be looking at the video of the day. When we come back, we'll talk about it.